Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf, and today I am recording my wrap up for the month of March, late as usual. I just looked in the viewfinder on my phone and I've got like such massive eye bags today. I don't know if it's because the kids are on holiday but yeah, sorry about the eye bags, just pretend you can't see them. So I read 7 books in March and I had 10 on my TBR. I think of the ones I read, 5. So 5 of my 10 were off my TBR. So that's pretty good going, I would say. It got a little bit disrupted by the Women's Prize long list, as we knew that it probably would do. So I will start with Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. So this was our book club choice for the beginning of March, which seems actually like ages ago now because we've had a second one since then. So we are following a woman who is growing up on an unnamed Caribbean island, and she is an amazing swimmer and she just loves the water. And she doesn't have a mum because her mum left when she was a young child and was never seen again. And her dad, her mum was black, she's raised in the Caribbean, her dad is Chinese, and there's a bit in the book about Chinese immigration into the Caribbean, which I wasn't actually aware of previously. And so her dad is raising her, and her dad is a gambler. He gets into a lot of debts with people that you don't want to be owing money to. And when his daughter is in her teens, he decides that it would be a good idea to marry her off to an old man who's wealthy, to clear his debts, basically. And she, as you can imagine, doesn't want to do this, and so she manages to run away to London. So that part of the book is brilliant, and it reminded me quite a lot of Andrea Levy's writing. Really enjoyed that part. Then it all kind of went a bit wrong for me because the book then tried to do so many things in a short period of time that it would have just been better, I think, to have stripped back the number of things trying to be done in the book and let it carry on with that initial story. So basically after that time, we know that our main character has died, and because her children have got a voice recording where she is telling them all about her life, because she's never really told them about her life before, and she's left it with her solicitor. They have to listen to it together and eat black cake together, which is like a traditional recipe, and uncover all their mum's kind of hidden secrets. And I think we all found it a little bit jarring going from this story that we were really immersed in to being pulled out of the story and having to go to these cassette recordings. And also there was, like I say, there was just too many plot points trying to be put into the book, in my opinion. I think a lot of us felt like this. So I was really looking forward to this, and if it had carried on in the same trajectory as the first bit of the story, it would have been brilliant. But I ended up only giving it 3 stars, sadly. The second book was one that I listened to on Audible, and that was Homesick by Jennifer Croft. So this is a book which is on the Women's Prize long list, and it was one that I very much enjoyed. So this is so Jennifer Croft is a translator. She has won translation awards before, and this book was initially written in another language, and it was also initially a memoir. Now it's been published in English and marketed as fiction. Don't know how to explain that, but anyway, so that's what's happened. And the characters have been renamed, and so yeah, they must have been renamed because it's not a memoir anymore. So we've got Amy and Zoe, who are 2 sisters, and Amy is basically the author, and it's a story of sisterhood, and also it's a story of Zoe, the younger sister, having a health problem which causes her to have some sort of quite significant health issues as she's growing up. And I really, really enjoyed this. So listening to it on Audible, I didn't realise when I bought it that actually it comes with a PDF file which has lots of photographs in it, and you can when it's on the audio, it says this is a photograph of, and it will tell you what the photograph is, and then you can go to the PDF file if you wish and look at the photo that it's talking about. And I believe that the book version of this now doesn't actually have photos in. But anyhow, so I enjoyed that part. It's very sort of vignette-y. It won't be a writing style that's for everyone. It's quite sparse. But I just really loved how it's told. It's just telling memories of their childhood together. And I really enjoyed the writing style. I enjoyed the nostalgic feel and the feel of like the realistic feel of what it's like to do certain things as a kid. Things that you can remember, which might have been fairly small things, but you can remember like your parent or somebody saying something later on down the years. And I really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I haven't really heard anyone talk about it very much yet with regards to the Women's Prize, but I'd really like it to be on the shortlist. It's only a really tiny book. Let's see how many pages it is. It's only, well, it's actually 256 pages, but on Audible, because I would imagine there's quite a lot of gaps in between the text, and on Audible it was only about 3 to 4 hours, but it was very good. Then I finished a book which I had put down. Where did I put? Oh, it's on my lap, so I can't see it. Which was Full Disclosure by Camryn Garrett. This is another brilliant book. I only put this down because I was scheduled to start a buddy read and I wanted to finish it off. This is a YA book which deals with HIV, and it's very, very well done. We are following our teenage protagonist, whose name I'm so bad at remembering names, Simone. And Simone has 2 dads, and neither of them are HIV positive. Simone's adopted. Her mum had HIV, and so she was born with HIV. And she's always, her dads are very supportive, very like sex positive, and very sensible as parents, and they've always raised her sort of knowing her HIV status. She goes to groups for kids with HIV and stuff like that. And it's basically about when Simone meets a guy called Miles, who is her the first boy that she kind of really wants to get into a relationship with, and she has to navigate how to do that because she's going to have to tell him that she has HIV before she has sex with him. And so it's all about negotiating how to do that and things, but the other thing that's going on in the book is that she's had to move schools because at her last school somebody found out that she had HIV and told everybody, or I think she might have told a girl who then told everybody, and she had to leave the school because of all the bullying that she got. And now she started getting notes in her locker saying, I know that you're HIV positive, you better leave Miles alone, who's the boy, or I'll tell everybody that you have HIV. So it deals with that side of things as well, and I thought this was really well done, really interesting. And I gave this one 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. Following that, I read The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. I did own this, and when I turned to the back cover, because I ordered it in the mail, and when I turned to the back cover, there was the corner ripped out of a few pages at the back. Luckily, it was the acknowledgements, it wasn't the story. So I said to Waterstones, and they said, well, you can have a refund or a replacement. And because I'd read it by then, I was like, I'll just have a refund, so I don't own it anymore. So The Marriage Portrait is another book which is longlisted for the Women's Prize, and I read this with lovely Nikki from Red Dot Reads. I will link her channel down below. She has a wonderful channel which you should definitely subscribe to. And we really enjoyed doing this together as a buddy read. It was a great book to buddy read. This is set in the 1500s in Italy, and we're following Lucrezia de Medici, who is from a wealthy, powerful family. And we know at the start of the book, it says that her husband is going to murder her. And we meet her when she's a single teenager, and we go back in time at various points between the night where she thinks she's going to be murdered and the times when she was a child. And she meets her husband is actually supposed to marry her older sister, Her older sister dies, and therefore she has to marry him instead. And it's looking at their relationship and where things change. It's all about producing heirs in those times, and you know, continuing your line, your power, not losing your titles, not being usurped by anyone else. It's very like backstabby, but it's very interesting as well. And Maggie O'Farrell, this is what I kept saying to Nikki, and we kept saying how she can paint such a vivid picture without using a lot of words, which I think is a really amazing skill. So, you know, some writers, you read long passages of description about landscapes and things, especially if you read someone like Thomas Hardy or something like that. But Maggie O'Farrell can produce just as vivid a picture for me with only using a few sentences, and I just think that's a really masterful skill that she has. And so yeah, this book was really good. What I would say, there are some violent scenes in the book. One of the scenes in the book I could not get out of my head. It was really horrible, and it was like a murder scene, and it was one of those things where when I read it I just felt a bit sick. Like, I thought, oh my god, it was just, you know, sometimes when something really horrifies you so much, you think, how could anyone do that? And then it just made me feel like, ugh, when I'd read it, I needed to kind of almost like not touch the book for a little while, because it was just so grim, the bit that I read. So I will put out there that there are some disturbing bits in the book. But overall I did give it a 5 stars, because it was one of those books that really reached all your emotions. Looking back now, I might give it a 4.5, but it did really like grab me and take me into that time period. I did research Lucrezia because she was a real person, and there was a crazy statistic that Maggie O'Farrell put in the notes at the end. It was something like her dowry in today's money was something like £60 million. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, we're talking about big, wealthy, powerful families here, and yeah, hence all the stuff that comes along with that wealth. After that, I finished my Dickens for the month, which was The Old Curiosity Shop. Not my favourite. I liked it more than Nicholas Nickleby. I liked it less than Pickwick and Oliver Twist. It is following a girl called Nell, who is about, I think she's about 15 or so, but she seems younger. And she's living with her grandfather. They're very poor. She has a brother who doesn't believe they're very poor, and he feels like he's just being swindled out of money. And the grandfather has a gambling problem again, and loses them all their money. Their house is taken from them, and they end up having to sort of wander around the country, like look, sort of trying to find places to sleep and to stay, and to earn money as they go, basically. And it was enjoyable, but it didn't grab me so much. I'm just wondering, you know, like I've said before, is it because I'm reading one after the next that I'm enjoying the last two less than the first two, possibly? Or was it just because those ones aren't for me? I'm not 100% sure. But I haven't really got masses more to say, to be honest, about it. Like, there's the usual kind of tropes, like there's the sort of villainous characters, there's you know, the sort of the poverty, the legal system, that kind of stuff that happens in Dickens's books in general. But yeah, it wasn't my favourite. But I did give it 3.5 stars. I listened to it. It was narrated by Jessie Buckley, and I do really like Jessie Buckley. I thought she did a great job, so that definitely helped. I then read on eBook I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel, another Women's Prize longlist book. This book is a real divisive one, because this is a book with an extremely unlikable set of characters. So we have our main character, we have a man who she is obsessed with. I can't remember how she refers to him. She doesn't refer to him as a name. She calls him something like the man I'm obsessed with or something. That man has a wife and at least one other girlfriend, as well as our main character. And his other girlfriend our main character is a bit obsessed with her, and she is basically like stalking her online. She screenshots all her Instagram stories. She tries to make friends with her friends in real life. She basically obsessively follows everything she does on social media. Because the main character is like seeing this guy, he's a complete dick in that he's got so many girlfriends and she still wants to be with him. That crazes you for the whole thing. She's so unlikable, this character. Like, she doesn't do anything which makes you want to like her. The only thing I would say, which I found really interesting, is like, first of all, Sheena Patel can clearly write, but also she does some sort of bits where she talks about privilege, faking stuff, social media racism. She does some sort of like sections on that in the story, which were like bang on, and I just thought, yes, that really resonated with me. And just how like some sort of privileged white girl with a nice long blonde ponytail can take everyday normal objects and turn them into something which she's paid hundreds of pounds for, even though you can buy them much cheaper, just so that she can say she got them from this shop, and how she can say that it's kind of like she's come up with certain concepts which are actually concepts that we've known about for ages, and how she, I don't know, like it talks about like cultural appropriation and lots of things like that, which I found those bits really interesting. If it wasn't for those bits, I think I would have just DNF'd the book, because I can't, as I've said before, I don't mind unlikable characters as long as there's some character progression, character growth, something that reaches me as a reader. But there was not anything like that, and then it just went at the end, and I was just like, this book actually made me feel a bit down reading it, and I gave it 2.5 stars. So that one for me wouldn't be on my shortlist, but I know it will be on other people's shortlist. The last, ending on a high, the last book I read, I absolutely loved, and it was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This was our book club book for the month of April, but I finished it in March, and this book was incredible, a 5-star read. So I've seen this around loads, and to be honest, the front cover is eye-catching, but it sort of made me think it's going to be not very well written, which is me being a book snob, and it wasn't like that at all. It was wonderful. So we are following a character called Elizabeth Zott, which I think is a brilliant name, and Elizabeth is a chemist in the 1960s in the States, and she is very academic. Sorry if you can hear my husband just put the hairdryer on outside the room. Sorry if you can hear that. She's very academic. She's very driven. She knows what she wants. She sees no limits into the things people can accomplish. And she meets a guy at the same university as her called Calvin Evans, and Calvin is like a big deal in the science world. He's very famous and very well thought of. He gets a lot of money for the university for research grants and things like that. He's got Nobel Prize nominations. She doesn't really, she kind of knows a bit who he is, but anyway, they just have this instant kind of attraction to each other, like sort of on a, they call it like a chemical attraction, and so it's about their relationship, but this isn't what I'd call a romance book, and how all the people at the university think that she's just with him to like basically ride on his coattails and get all of the things that in academia that she needs by using his name, which is actually not it at all, and she really wants to not have his name. And so it's not a spoiler to say that they have a daughter, because right at the beginning of the book, Madeline, who's the daughter, is mentioned, and so it's not a spoiler. But she is an unmarried mother. She faces a huge amount of judgment for being an unmarried mother. She doesn't believe in God, and she gets a huge amount of criticism for that as well. And she is on the receiving end of a disgusting amount of sexual abuse and sexism. Being a woman in a science career is absolutely shocking. How things like leaving the sexual assault aside, how for instance, she'll publish a research paper and they'll take her name off and put the guy who is her boss will take her name off and put his name on the paper. She's not even mentioned, even though it's all her work. They play jokes on her, like saying, for instance, they're going to give her some funding for her education and she thinks that they're going to fund her PhD, where actually they just said, no, we've booked you on a typing course, and they think that's really funny. There's so much horrible sexism in this book. It made me, whilst I love this book, in a good way, it made me so mad that I wanted to like punch something because I was just like, how did women cope with this on a day-to-day basis? It's just disgusting. So there's a lot in here about being a parent, balancing parenthood and career, female friendship, sexism, like I said, and the fact that, as we can tell from the front cover, Elizabeth actually makes it onto television to do TV producers want a cooking show and she wants a chemistry show, and how she manages to combine the two, and how she inspires women throughout America to be like what they want to be rather than what they're told they're limited to. And yeah, this was an amazing book, very uplifting, made you feel good reading it, inspiring, and Elizabeth's art, I just felt really grateful to all the women who've come before me, who are like her, who've paved the way for women like me to work in a science career today. And I just felt like this was a nod to the women of previous generations who've paved the way, fought through their difficulties for the women of today to be able to follow their dreams. And I love this book. Really, really good. This will be on my best books of the year. So that was everything that I read in the month of March. I really would like to hear your thoughts if you've read any of those books, or if you're planning to. Especially, I think, the ones on the Women's Prize, because it's always interesting to hear other people's opinions of prize-winning books, or prize-nominated books, should I say. So I'm still working my way through the list. I'm going to get through as many as I can before the shortlist announcement. I definitely won't read all 16 before the shortlist announcement. I'm just now nearly finished Glory by Violet Bulawayo, and then I've got the next one, which is about to come into the library, is Black Butterflies, and I also own Trespassers, which I just started because I'd gone out and forgotten my book, and so I started Trespassers because I could read it on my phone. Anyhow, so I will stop rambling on, but I hope you have a really lovely week and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.